And we're live. So, getting through the week here. We'll try to get about an hour in today, but a lot been going on. 30 days till the election. Um, and I don't like to bring up bad things, but things here in my state are pretty serious. Uh, this disaster that hit us is really getting out of control as we go. And there are a lot of issues, political issues involved here. But it appears that the death toll is going to be way bigger than it is. Um, People have been speaking out against a lot of terrible things. I'm not going to bring them up. I will when I go into depth in another video. But also, there's been some very sharp uh, questions asked about what the government has been doing and what they are constantly doing now, and why no money or no effort has been put forward for relief after a week. People are still stranded. Any government agency that gets in there, federal agency, seems to impede, stop, block, and not allow people to do it. Basically, these people in that area are on their own. Okay. And after I finish this live today, I'm going to go to some of my local veterans posts and churches and see what I can do to help. Uh, but one thing everyone is telling you not to do is, and I've heard it from more than just people online. I've heard it from actual people that went there. Don't give any money to FEMA, because FEMA's saying that, all of this donations and that are wrong, that you should just send money and material to them or the Red Cross. Don't do that. Go to, probably your best bet's going to be, if you need to send something, do it with a local church. The local churches are going out and are having people, and basically people who are from the area. And like the other veterans post up in High Point, them guys filled a whole trailer up and drove out there. And then they left it at a point that was not, they dropped the material off at an area that was not controlled by the federal government. It was just local people uh, helping out. Okay. And, churches, organizations, things like that. So this is an ongoing problem. The only problem is they're exposing uh, the federal government for what it's doing, which is criminal. And a lot of people are exposing the situation to the point where that prominent politicians are now saying we can't have a democracy with things like the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's no longer the Second Amendment, it's the First Amendment. That people are free to listen to news or hear an opinion that is not, in a roundabout way, like they're saying, regulated by the government. So now several prominent politicians have brought up the fact that the First Amendment of the Constitution, which is basically freedom of speech, impedes and stands in the way of democracy. Now, how the hell that all works out, I don't know. Okay. But yeah, a lot of things are being exposed. A lot of people are angry. Um, there's all kinds of strange conspiracy theories and that going. I'm not going to get into it. But if you could, if you have a local church or some organization accepting donations, you know, to help, please do. And another thing, like I can't stress this enough. I really don't care what the hell your political views are, but it's imperative that you try your hardest to get out and vote this year. Okay, for whoever or whatever, but vote. Get the vote counted. I mean that takes precedent. All right, so I see everybody here. Megabait, you're still hanging in at a hot spot, I guess. They're supposed to bring you Starlink out there. Good morning. Good morning. Joel, yeah, well, you live up there far enough. I can see it getting down to 35. It's dropping here. And Rodney, thank you. I didn't get around to getting into the other thing. Like I stated, the daily lives, I'm probably not going to do them. I'll just do the countdown with a short video on some of the situations going on, which they're escalating every day. And it's easier for me because I can do them like at 5 a.m., 12 a.m., whatever, and just get them up. It'll be the same thing, but I can't handle doing a live every day. There's too many things going on. I will keep doing this, and next week I should have the other uh, software running because I ran out of my free time with them. But I had to hook up that other microphone and everything. And it's got to be adjusted and something in the settings. So I didn't. I would have done it today, but I just wasn't prepared. I did my gardening and celebrated Oktoberfest yesterday, and just took it easy. So a little bit out of it. But at Hickory Airport on two Chinooks. Yeah, that's what people are saying. I mean, Fort Bragg has enough air power and men, okay? And like people were saying, this is a federal disaster. How come they didn't send? They said that some guys that are from the region took leave to come and look for their family. Had to put in for leave and got leave to leave the post and go help the community out. That's kind of screwed up. Yeah, see, I don't know how that works because I put comments out or whatever. There's something about YouTube, unless somebody is complaining. Because you ever notice when comments are there, I had to hide the weird ones that I have no idea what they were. It was just like names would be in the comment section. And it was like they used to put links to pornographic websites in my comment section. And I just went and hid all of these sources from things blinking again, from being posted. They still would post them, but they weren't visible. And I guess after I did that for a while, much like these other weird things, once I went through and hid these where they're not being seen, and the names change because I'll see it at some, and I'm looking, I can't see the posts, see, so I've hid them, and you can't see them, and they're not out there, and then eventually they stop showing up. Okay, much like the pornographic ones, but I don't know. I put comments out and went back to see if there's reaction, and my comments aren't there. I don't know how that works. Either the person's blocking me, or if you get red flagged, there's a way to report the comment or something. I don't know. It's like the Gun Geek said, their notification thing has been broken for a very long time, you know, because I all of a sudden get notifications of people subscribing out of the blue when I haven't changed or adjusted anything in there. So again, I don't know. So yeah, that's a tough one. But the only good thing is now you go on YouTube and you see several people telling you that there is an ammunition shortage and you should buy immediately and all this other stuff. And that's kind of false because ammunition is the lowest I've seen it in the past 4 years. Okay. And there are plenty of places out there with ammunition for sale. They're actually, they have an excess of it. Same with guns. Okay. There was a special on that Rock Island DT something 9 or whatever. And what it is now that the Glock patents have run out, the Turks are making these Glock copies, and that Stoger pistol I have, which I said with the rebate and everything, I don't know, it's 200 and some dollars for this handgun. And it's a mid-size one. There's a full-size, mid-size, and subcompact. I got the mid-size one. And I don't know, I think it's kind of like a Glock 26 or something, about the same size. And 13-round magazine. For what I paid for that damn gun, it shoots, it eats all the ammunition that I put in there. Okay. I mean, it's a good value. Okay. And basically, all it is a copy of a Glock. Well, they're doing it again. And I think this handle had more back straps. Mine only had, I think, two. There's 2 or 3. And it only came with one when you got it in the discount version. So you had to go order the other back strap. And that was tricky because they were out of stock and this and that. This one comes with 3 back straps, or 3 or 4 of them almost. But it's only got 1 mag, and it does have the fancy like competition mag well thing, the little extension on the grip. It's got the angled up, so when you're doing your trick shooting, fast draw, whatever, it helps you get that mag up in there. But the magazine's got an extension on it, a base, so it sticks out. A plastic plate on a bottom, like a lot of those competition guns do. I think one person was testing them, and they do work with the Glock mags, but the ones with just a flat base pop way to hell up in there, and they do drop out. So you'd have to drop the mag out. If you get one that doesn't, well, you got problems now. You got to get your fingers up in there, yank the son of a bitch out. But and they're decent guns for what they are. But a lot of them, Turkish shotguns, I did some work on them. I did a video on the drums, which will be uploaded. A lot of interest in them. I get a lot of interest in those videos, and it helps me. It does help my channel. The more views I get, the lives, a couple hundred or so, not doing well. I guess people don't like being depressed and reminded of politics. Power goes out, you lose everything. Good morning. All right, guys, everyone's here. Yeah, so there are a lot of deals out there. Okay, even on brand name stuff. They got sales on H&K, SIG, a lot of guns. There is an excess of firearms, and it's kind of like over the past 15 years, there's always been some sort of panic. I don't see how anybody is missed out unless they're too young to buy a gun. But everyone should have something, and kind of did the way they cleaned out the last time. And there is a surplus, and there's a lot of bargains. If you're looking for a new commercial gun, now's the time to go. Surplus, a little bit different. They got some CZ70s, some other stuff you're seeing pop up. Mosin Crate's always getting something from somewhere. And I don't know if they're just small lots like what he gets. He'll get so many 20, 30, like CZ70s or Bulgarian Max or whatever, whenever he gets whatever. And then you'll see him come up on some of the larger like J&G, AIM Surplus, or Century Arms has their own product line. What's that other one down in Charlotte? I forget the name of that. They used to get him. And of course, the Swiss uh, Schmidt Rubens are still floating around. You still see some of them popping up. And their price is kind of leveled off. There was a big craze with them, and the price kind of escalated. Now it's kind of down a little. Of course, probably those guns, the condition on them may not be like they were. We get some pretty. The Swiss guns were always in pretty good shape. Okay, in the Old West, do you think anyone back then could have beat Jerry Mickluck in a quick draw gunfight? Well, first of all, I don't know who he is. And second of all, they say a lot of that shit, quick draw gunfights, were kind of fake and over exaggerated. The OK Corral, they were standing there about 4 foot apart, and one of them made a move, and everybody just started shooting. It's not like the movies. And an area the size of a spare bedroom in your house, 12 foot by 12 foot. So that's your quick draw. Just picked up a Ruger American Ranch because American Rifle eats too much of the food. I had one. I had a Mini 14 years ago. I regret ever selling it, but I never put a scope on it. Ruger American, is that like the Mini 14 or is that a bolt action rifle? I don't keep up with it. Yeah, but there's a lot of Ruger's another one. Ruger's got some kind of anniversary edition of some pistol and some interesting things out there, And Ruger's always been fairly decent quality wise, one way or the other. There was a time when Remington was. If I don't even know if Remington exists or who bought the name. I know something. The only way to use the Remington logo and name is if you have some sort of manufacturing. You must have some sort of manufacturing going on in the plant in Ilion in order to use the logo, the name, or anything. So I at least that's what they told me from back home, or I heard somewhere. Okay, bolt action takes AR mags. All right, that's one of them newfangled weapons, hybrid guns. I picked up Savage. The Savage, whatever their bottom line was, Savage rifle. But this one was a weird one. It had a wooden stock. The guy got it from me. He wanted a wooden stock. He didn't want a Axis, Savage Axis. And for a time, they did make them with some sort of plain wooden stock, and he got one in 5.56. And then, when he wanted to get rid of it, I got it. My wife shot it. She could shoot it extremely well. So all of a sudden, that became her gun. And just a basic, simple little rifle, 5 or 4 shots, whatever the hell chintzy little magazines go in there. But it's a decent gun. I mean, yeah, I can see that. That would look better. And that came with some kind of Chinese friggin' scope on there, but it shoots well out 200 yards. It's the farthest we got to shoot. Shoots pretty damn good. But Ruger's, yeah, they're a good gun. Like I said, now's the time, and who knows what's happening. Things are changing every day, and not for the better. Looks, who knows what's going to happen. I was saying something about the wars and that going on, and again, don't look good, but don't know if it's all part of the grand scheme to con you into something. We'll have to see. Ban bots that. Well, I don't know. That does, when I follow that does go to someone's channel, and there were some actual comments. That's why I don't know. I don't believe it's a bot, but yeah, he's not. He's there. Magpul mags that are translucent. I gotta see what's going on. Somebody I know has a large amount of AR mags. I don't know what they are. He was mumbling something. He must have bought a case of them at one time. But I may have them available for anybody on the channel. I gotta figure out what he wants for them. But he wants to kind of get rid of them. Because I don't know what the going rate for, say, Magpul or top quality magazines are going for. We can take a look, though. We'll go to AmmoSeek. And we will look for mags. Yeah. Let's see. I don't believe this. Swiss Ordnance. $223. Ah, 5.56 NATO. Any brand, start seeking. Amendment 2. So some of these polymer ones, $6 and something. 6 something. So it looks like, but let's get a brand. Let's get a good brand. Magpul. See what they go for. Get an idea here. Because if he wants too much for him, I ain't going to bother with it. MagSafe, Magpul. They're probably the best now. Poof, yeah, 8, 10. 10 and a quarter. Then with shipping, yeah, it looks like they're all down there. Everything is low. People are not buying, those Magpul, they're translucent, yeah. Servius Capital Management has brought running. Yeah, I know that already. Who owns them now? Comments don't match the topic. All right, so I see we all have our. Well, go ahead and comment while you can before the government outlaws freedom of speech. And it'll be labeled as disinformation and make you an enemy to state. Yeah, but it looks like the magazine thing ain't there. But we'll see. We will see. All right, so other than magazines and that, saying she's going to break down your dorm. Yeah, you see, there's actually places I didn't know in New York State. Generally, you went through the whole damn bullshit routine to get a permit to possess a gun, and it came down to several categories. You can get a permit just to keep a handgun in your house and only in your house for self defense. You can't put it in a car, you can't go outside the house without it. Mine had hunting and target shooting, meaning I could carry. And see, this is the weird thing. They say it's not a concealed carry permit. They used to say you have to carry it openly, but that created a problem. So they said, and they keep changing the rules. You can carry it concealed on the way to hunting or target shooting activities. Okay, so basically, I belong to an indoor gun range that I was on the board of directors, and I could go into this gun range 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I had the excuse of being able to carry the gun concealed at all times. Now, I found out when we were going over this in one of the gun clubs, there was a county down in New York State, and it's close to New York City, so it's somewhere way in the southeast. There is a county, and the county can make its own restrictions. And he said this is the one county in New York that you could only own one handgun at a time. That was it. I had 5, 6 of them, but you could only own one handgun. And before you could take possession of the handgun, the sheriff came to your house and you had to have some sort of a safe to store it in. And you had to show them where you were going to keep this weapon and how it was going to be secured. And if it met their criteria, then they would allow you to go to the gun store, take possession of the gun, and have it in your home. Okay. If you were headed for grizzly bear country, what 3 guns would you take with you? Handgun, rifle, shotgun. That will never fail. Well, what I have for Baronet, a Smith & Wesson 29 with a 6-inch barrel. That's all we used to keep. Some people are a Ruger Blackhawk and 44 Magnum. I don't need to get any bigger. I don't need a 500 Smith & Wesson or 50 caliber Desert Eagle, and I can shoot and handle a 44 Magnum. You know, carrying it's a pain in the ass. As far as a rifle, I really ain't got nothing. Uh, how's it going, Dan? I ain't got nothing that big for grizzly. Probably 45, 70 lever gun would be what I don't have one, but that would probably be what I take without getting too insane with some kind of gigantic thing. I know some people have like a 300 H&H mag or 300 Win mag or something. I'm not into the larger, heavier calibers. I've never had to go on a hunting situation like that. And shotguns, hell, the pump, what he's shooting. No, an AR-15 with a 20 round drum. Yeah. Yeah, 629.6. All right, Rod. Take it easy, bud. But yeah, not much of a grizzly bear hunter myself. Or you could just go with a 54 caliber Hawkins single shot black powder rifle and a giant Bowie knife. You know, sneak up behind the bear and jump on his back like they did in the old days, like with a gunfight. You like to believe those stories. Yes, but yep, Davy Crockett style. Um, Still reloading because I was talking to somebody that they have all of those huge belted magnums and stuff. And I was telling them what the cost of gunpowder, you know, loading like something for the 30-06 or the 77 Jap or even Austrian cartridges take about 42 to 46, 49 grains on average. And out of 7,000, let's round it off to 50. So that's going to get you 140 rounds out of a pound of powder, 50 grains. And the guy goes, 50 grains? I'm using 100. Okay. Close to 100. So you're only going to get about 3 boxes, 70 rounds, 60. So yeah, I mean, it's cool to have one and have something that can shoot, outshoot a 308 at a mile and a half or whatever, just short of a 50 BMG. But, and it's what you do. It's what your hobby is, what your likes are, what you're doing with it. It's just something I don't fool with something like that. Okay. The caliber, the guns, anything, that's just me personally. Some people, that's all they do is they go on hunting trips and they carry some pretty stout weapons with them, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem I have. I can't, some people have contacted me, out of the blue, say, hey, I need you to do some specialty stuff for me, And I'm like, Well, see, I can't price it because I don't know what it costs if it's in stock, and certain powders are either no longer made or not in stock. So any of the research and work I did, for me to go and just load up 20 rounds of some oddball cartridge and I'm out of powder and I have to find a substitute, I have to go through the whole load development process again to guarantee the safety before I send anything out to somebody. I ain't just going to go, well, this powder's close enough, so we'll just modify it a little, that you don't do that. Okay, that's not safe, and it is too expensive to reload. I mean, I just bought some 9 millimeter or something. You buy 1,000 rounds of nine, and like the brass, once fired brass, even if you process it, even if you wash it, clean it, get ready, so you can't sell it for nothing. There's so much of it out there. Nobody reloads anymore. It's cheaper just to buy the ammo, And then what I do is I'll just eventually chunk all the brass in a huge box and then take it down and sell it as scrap. You know, and primers are another one. I was lucky with them large pistols. I got them on a flash sale because I went back a few days later, and the damn price was back up again. You know, from 5 cents to like 8 cents a piece. So if you're smart and if you got the time to sit on a damn computer like a friggin' hawk and that's another thing. I would get a couple hundred emails, and basically it's just companies or websites sending me what's on sale, be it reloading components, ammunition, guns. Grab a gun, Battlehawk Armory was another place I got a lot of good deals out of. But it just got to the point where really not in a position to be buying any more guns. Okay, I've been doing this with the shotguns, kind of got overextended, but now I got to kind of work through these and do that. And then, like I said, these really inexpensive Turkish 9 millimeter handguns, um, they're just a Glock clone, and they're actually fairly good for what amount of money you're paying. You know, for a casual person, I don't think you have any trouble with it. The one, like I said, I bought that Stoger, and the friggin' thing is fantastic. It shoots anything I put in there, any 9 millimeter ammo. The only thing I think maybe I found some steel case and even ran that through there. Uh, so you're not seeing Russian steel case. You're seeing the MacTech or something. I guess out of one of them's out of South America, MagTech, and then Max Tech is selling steel cased ammo, and that might be the stuff out of Serbia or former Yugoslavia. And they're using steel cases, so they're probably getting the steel cases from the Russians and then just loading them at their plant, which they were doing that here in the U.S. when they had the embargo. Somehow they're buying the steel cases and probably primed and loading them here in the U.S. for several different cartridges, which that didn't last long. Uh, if different powders require different, yeah, that's pretty much, Joel, the consensus. If different powders require different amounts for reloading to get the same effect, if you use too hot of a powder and use too much, your gun will explode and kill you. Yes, that's that's a very accurate observation. Okay, that's why you can't just switch things. You have to understand who makes powder an explosive chemical. It's not an explosive. No, powders come under the hazmat of flammable solids. That's what they're classed. They're not given an explosive uh, designation, flammable solid. It isn't an explosive, it just makes. Okay, but the flammable solids is there. Ammunition comes under, fixed ammunition comes under something different. Black powder is an explosive, but also primers. And a lot of times people will order powder and primers. They used to ship them separate. I don't know. Primers are considered an explosive. Okay. But hazmat, you know, the ammunition's flammable solid. I don't know about acids or corrosives or something. That they also uh, are in some sort of category. And it kind of don't matter. You just got to pay the fee, more or less, how you put it. But yeah, this is an interesting time. I don't know if I don't know what the future's going to bring. I might get shut down here if the politicians have their way. They don't want me saying anything. All right, Jay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If you do live far out enough to where, uh, it's like 100 miles from any store, you're stuck. Because I try to go locally if I can, but 9 times out of 10 I can't. And and when it comes down to, all right, like I tell people, you can't look at buying 1 pound of powder. You see that 8 pound keg there. Last time I bought it, okay, I bought 2 of them. It's quite a large amount of money. It's way over $500, but I have them. Okay, and then the price went up. Okay, they're a little over 300 or 300 something a piece, and I got them in January, and then the new prices come in, and now both of them are over $400 each. So it would be another $100. I paid $325, $335. Now they're $435. Okay, so that's just the end of it. I will use the powder. I have used some of it. Matter of fact, that's all you guys that are members. Keep an eye out. I'm going to get a members video up, and I'm trying to clear some things up. I'll set something up to where I can help if interested. I'll cut you guys a break that are members. Help me move some stuff out of here. Because, that's just how this is weird. We're in a slump now. And that's another thing that the people are hiding. I know what's his name here, Megabait told me that all the ammunition and that's flying off the shelves. I guess the looting is an ongoing thing, and they're not talking about it. People don't want to talk about it. There's marauders. There's people coming in. Okay, exactly who or what's going on, but there are people looting and stuff. There's been gunfights. So yeah, if you want to know who's a quick draw, grab your single action, saddle up to Western North Carolina, see if you can get into some quick draw shootouts. Occasionally I order special oil for my street bike online. On 6 quarts of oil. It's a hazardous material, okay? I'm not the one that makes the rules, but I guess oil is. Oil will burn, okay? And I guess you got to look at it. If you ever seen accidents on the highway where a tractor trailer's there and the damn trailer catches fire and will burn. I've seen that several times on the highways. So yeah, if you got hazardous material, you have to know. And I think what they do is they may ship all of it together in one thing or something. I don't know. Or it's kind of a fee in case the trailer incinerates, you know. But I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult. I don't know if it's a form of gun control or I just don't know. Uh, the companies do say that cost is going up. That's a known thing. They even said that in at the American Legion. The one girl said, "I put an order in. I mean, there's only like 12 people that show up 3 days out of the week and drink beer and stuff." So the girl that manages the place said, "All right, I placed an order." And they do. It used to be they had a damn delivery truck come there once a week to drop off whatever. But now I guess things have gotten in the club room to the point where they place an order and they come and drop it off one time. And she goes, that order for just 5 different beers and whatever they were getting, uh, cases of them, was $600. And she goes, after a few months, she goes, it's been like 3 months. I placed another order, and that same order was identical amounts, identical things. She goes, that came back 700 something, almost $800. So they said, now we got to have an increase or whatever. And it's like anything, okay? If you're running a business and you don't have people coming in there, be it a bar, restaurant, clothing store, whatever, you have to have people buying your products or paying the employees, paying the rent, paying whatever. Okay, you're eventually going to go out of business. Powder, it's a tough one. It's they tell you, well, there's this war and so much of the nitrocellulose and whatever for each artillery shell is equivalent to so much. And of course, the companies are getting paid top dollar and they want it now. So, and like we said, it's 25% of the production of gunpowder in the canisters like you see behind me go to either commercial reloaders, which there are several companies that are large enough that do reloading. There was one down, I think in Georgia or South Carolina or something. And it's kind of like if you bring your brass in, they discount it towards buying ammo. And the guy said, I went in there and they have commercial machines running and making the ammo. Okay, it's not like my garage. They actually have commercial machines running. So that 25% is divided in half, which is 12.5%, go to companies that do commercial reloading, and the other 12% of production ends up in them jugs on a shelf in a sporting goods store. Okay. So in actuality, what is out there for the hobbyist hand loader or the average guy is only 12% of production. Now, if they're making more money producing their product and getting paid a higher amount and selling more of it, then what they do is they drop back on that. And that's why I forget which company said with the ongoing war and demand, and the fact that, well, we've sanctioned the companies that sell us, or countries, we've sanctioned the countries that sell us like 60-80% of the nitrocellulose or materials that we need to do this. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. And I think also it's kind of done. I have an idea it's done on purpose because they're looking to disarm us, number one. Okay, this is what they want. They've always, one faction in this government, society, whatever, has constantly screamed about gun control since all the way back when I was still in high school. Okay, and getting NRA magazines back in the 70s, 75, 76. Okay, this has been there forever. Okay. Um, but now it's critical because if you look at all the countries internationally that kind of have either banned or really restricted ownership of private firearms, countries that did not in the past, they may have had more regulation than we did, but you were still allowed to own handguns, AR-15s, all this other stuff. Canada is one, England's another. I guess they banned all private ownership of handguns. I guess you can still own shotguns and sporting rifles. Okay, I know that any type of military style gun with a detachable magazine was outlawed years ago. So all the guys with FNs and ARs and that's all gone. Brazil, I think, no guns. Australia, absolutely no guns, and several others. So when you see that, and in the US, I doubt very much they will ever be able to enforce any type of really restrictive gun control. I mean, supposedly in Chicago, you can't buy or own a gun, but the gangs are on the street standing there with AR-15s and whatever, rocket launchers, opposing each other from one neighborhood to the next. So as you see, gun control is a joke and it's fake. Okay, you can't, in this country, it'll never happen, unless you go in sections there. And then again, even if you did cordon off an area, arrest everyone, go house to house and that, it's still not going to stop. Okay. They can dream about it and people get all emotional about it, and I don't blame them. Okay. Children shouldn't be killed on the school grounds. People shouldn't catch a bullet. We're talking in the parking lot at the Legion, my buddy's truck. Because the way this is a big building, so you go back and you park towards the back of the building because the front part's the meeting hall and what they rent out for banquets and stuff. Well, he was parked down. I would guesstimate 150, 200 yards from the road, and there's a trailer park on the other side, and we're downhill. So when you're standing there, it's elevated way above your head. Somebody shot a 380 from the road. And I mean, he had a nice big truck. It was a nice new truck. And you can see where that bullet traveled and come down and hit his door. And you can see the copper, and it took a huge chip of paint and put a good sized dent in his door. Didn't penetrate the door. So that meant it was shot from hundreds of yards away. It was losing steam by the time it hit his thing. And when we were talking about it, that's when somebody else said years ago, on the main street up in town where all the shopping plazas were. They were driving, and the guy's driving with his wife and kid. Somebody shot a bullet in the air, and it come through the window, open window, hit his wife in the head, killed her instantly. She slumped over on him while he's driving down the road. Kind of a freak accident. So that's why you never fire any type of firearm up in the air. Okay, let's see what we got. During COVID, 5 private companies making bullets. Said 4 or 5 were making NATO rounds and weren't changing the tune. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're not going to change over to tooling. Drive to Indianapolis. All right, now I'll know how to do that. Obvious problem in Chicago. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can't buy guns. At one time, you couldn't buy any guns in the city limits of Chicago. Okay. That's how bad the gun control got. The ATF shut everyone down. All right. So they still get guns. Banana Republic now. We had 2 of our schools where I work hit by drive-bys. Didn't hurt anyone. It was over the weekend. That's just the way the gang members send you a message. Always wondered what the drive-bys were about. And we had them in Burlington. And how the drive-bys work is when you're in a neighborhood where people are selling illegal narcotics or whatever, you always got to have some, and it's always, again, a woman struggling, single parent with a couple kids, and she's going and complaining to the police and complaining that, this activity, come down and stop this. Well, how it is in the law of the street, okay, you do that, and I believe the drive-bys, because, we've had several of them, they pull up in the middle of the night and just start riddling the house with bullets, scaring the shit out of everyone to shut them up, okay? So even when people work to stop a lot of this in the inner city, you want to call it, or neighborhoods, this is a retribution for trying to do what's right and complaining. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, 314. I don't know if Rodney went there. Rodney said something about a buffet and he was going to take off. They're doing what now in this chat? Censorship. How are you saying that? Are comments not getting put up or what? Or what's I'm curious, what are they censoring? Okay, how are we gonna test this? See, now I'm getting kind of confused. I'm seeing all the comments and it's the same people, okay, that show up to my lives are generally always here, a few new names, but I don't know what's getting censored. Am I being censored? Because again, when I started this, there was some sort of horizontal flash or something. So I don't know if this is getting picked up by somebody watching this or whatever. All right, Joel, you live in a, an area out there. All right, 314, yeah. Well, I mean, it's an honest opinion. The quality control on these firearms is inconsistent, which leaves the complaint. The last one I'm doing, the G-Force, GF25 shotgun. I mean, it works fine. Look at me go in this chat. Only half of my comments are posting on my own fishing channel now. In this chat. Well, what is in the posts that are disappearing? But going back to the Turkish guns, yeah, this thing worked fine. Other than I couldn't pull that handle, the op handle, out of the bolt, which that locks the bolt into the carrier mechanism now. And I mean, I didn't realize it. And if you watch the disassembly, I had to take vice grips and yank that thing out of there. Then to get it back in, you had to tap it in with a soft hammer. So come to find out, when I finally got it apart and was looking, there's a T-shaped groove where that wedge goes in, a ball detent, and there's a detent hole under the thing. So it kind of slides in and locks, that ball snaps up and locks it. Now I've seen some where that'll come out while the gun's being used. And it appears that somebody like bashed the damn carrier somehow to where, and then it got chrome plated or whatever to where that thing, and you can see from the op panel where it's wedged. Well, the only way for me to get it to go in there with force was I had to file. I ended up filing the handle itself, the metal at an angle, so it kind of will go in there and now it locks in. You don't want to file too much, then this thing will fly out while you're shooting it. Well, shotguns are tricky on the way you make the barrels. Okay, that's the thing. That's the only difference. The other Turkish guns, be it handguns or whatever, there's several of them I got that are fine. Be it Glock knockoffs. I got 2 of them that are copies of the 1911, and they're inexpensive guns and they work fine. About a decade ago, we had a flood of Chinese-made guns up here. Yeah, see, the Chinese guns where things got weird is Norinco was using a lot of these small companies to make subcomponents and parts. And when the US cut them off, usually it's like a year or something before they actually, so you have to get as much material out as you can. And that's where things started getting weird, where they were jamming things together. Quality really sucked. They just tried to get as much material before the cutoff date prepared and ready to be shipped to make the money, because then the spigot was turned off after that point, and a lot of real piss poor shit ended up here towards the end. The TS clone handguns seem, well, they're good. I've got several of them. I've made videos. Look it up. and they work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, that's true. There he is, the gun geek. Bush Ranger bolt action, inletting like a rat on a stick. Hmm. No, but I think what it is shotgun designs. Okay. When you take a Remington barrel, like my 870s, 1100s, when you put them together and clang, they ring like a bell. These barrels don't do that. So I don't know how they're made. I don't know if they're not being extruded, because when I worked at Remington, I remember I was in the saw area and I seen where they're cutting the receivers for the 870 and 1100 and something else. And I was looking, and there was this about 3-4 inch diameter stock. They were cutting about inch and a half, 2 inches thick, and the guy's cutting these slugs. And it was a weird yellowish material, kind of gold or whatever. So it was an alloy of some sort. It wasn't standard. I said, "What are you cutting there?" And the guy goes, and he's putting them on a pallet. He goes, "Shotgun barrels." I said, "Shotgun barrels?" He goes, "Yeah, don't you know how they're made?" He goes, "They take that slug," and he goes, "they heat that thing up till it turns yellow. And they place it in a machine, and then this huge mandrel comes and slams down and stretches that half molten metal out into a barrel." And he goes, "There'll be an excess at the bottom and an excess at the top. And then that's taken and trimmed off. And that's how they make the barrel." Okay. So whatever the process they're making these barrels, it's not the same. But like I said, I think they're manufacturing the shotgun. They're not using the same techniques. Type 54 Tokarevs, not all the same. I had one Chinese one that I picked up, and I ended up selling it to a guy. I didn't quite like it as well as the Yugos, and I think I got a Bulgarian one that shoots pretty good. Well, it's steel quality, and then the process. I don't think they're doing the same process making the shotgun barrels as the other companies do. You know, and like I said, the receivers are alloy, but a lot of people say that the Mossberg receivers are alloy too. And there is different qualities of steel, okay, which comes to your cost. If you get a better, it could be the same grade of steel, but where it's produced, the quality of the steel itself, uh, even though it's supposedly the same grade now, we found that out in manufacturing. Like aluminum was one of them. We get this aluminum, we're making a little part, and we had to drill and tap. And no matter what the hell we did, what coolant we put on or whatever, the material would stick to the tap and rip the threads out, because it's real tiny, fine threads, no matter what. Okay, and it come down that the guy went and ordered this steel, and it used to be, if it was marked with blue, it was okay, but if it was marked with red, it wasn't. It was same grade and that, but there was a difference, and he was getting a cheaper grade. It didn't machine worth the shit. Okay, so yeah, there is a difference, and it all comes down to cost. Heat treats, yes, important. All right, you got an M14 made by, well, H&R was the one. Receiver rings. Yeah, them Chinese clones weren't good. See, I got a kit built on Springfield Armory or something, national match receiver. And I bought that Chinese clone thing dirt cheap, but what I had to do is I had to send it. They had to yank the barrel, the bolt, all that shit out, and they replaced it. And then it still ended up costing me well over $1,000, but that's how I rebuilt mine, and it's built on a national match receiver. Forged castings. Yeah, but you did find a lot of those Chinese M14s. They were in the Philippines, all over the damn place. Because I seen pictures where when they were fighting the guerrillas, that's what they had. Is them? They didn't have U.S. M14. Maybe they did, but mostly the Chinese one. Xamax is that stuff they make high points from. Could be. Um, yeah, you don't know. But yeah, they were bad. They were soft. You'd fire them and the damn headspace would grow after 10, 20 rounds. Yeah, but high points, like my buddy said, uh, they're huge, they're clunky. But he goes, when you fire them, they do go off. That's the thing about them. Almost got one. They had a sale on the damn things, the new Yeet cannons with a threaded barrel. And if I could have got them for like 140, and then I went back and they were gone. Okay, and I said, "Oh shit!" Now they want over $200 for one. I should have grabbed one, and I could add some content firing that. But I wouldn't do the drag it behind on a trailer hitch on a gravel road and run it over with a tractor and all this other shit. Um, would have been an honest evaluation of it. So next week I'm out of the limitation on StreamYard. So next Sunday, guys, I might have a StreamYard, and I'll invite them fellows I invited the last time if you guys want. So I'll give you a heads up. I'll send you a reminder message. Yeah, it's true. It depends how you design the weapon, also. They used to be, yes. Uh, they were. I seen that here in the U.S. They just haven't caught up with production. They only had 10 millimeters, 40s, and 45s for the longest time because I wanted to get one and test with the skies. Actually, the two sky pistols I got work fine. There's other people that can't get them to shoot for a damn, but those skies were okay. And actually, the skies were way cheaper than the high points. So they were becoming the new gangster arm, unlike the high points. She'll still should have made a little rap video like you see we're dancing with the gun. Then boom, gun goes off. Everyone starts screaming. Yeah, yeah. Crew served handgun. What the hell? That's what they call the. Who's making them? The 50 Action Express pistols or something. I remember one guy, he showed me one he bought, but his hands were, I couldn't reach the trigger. I couldn't hold the gun and get my finger on the trigger. But yeah, they call it a crew serve pistol. I don't know. That's all they had in the store. They had 10s and they had 45s. I think then maybe they had a 40. Because I was looking to get one. I just wanted to make, because actually that would get, if I just put high point, yeet cannon, whatever the hell, you know, the video would go viral. All right. Everybody wants to see it. But yeah, they are. That was. Yeah, because I heard of people buying them for 50, $60 used, you know, and all this other stuff. Well, that's what my little gun weasel friend told me. He's always trading and buying and selling. And he'd buy the high points. He goes for like $60, and he goes, I'd clean them up, try to resell them, and he said they always fired, no matter what. Well, like I said, my little buddy, the weasel, he waits till people are desperate for money for he buys, because at 200 is about what the retail is on High Point. I seen them on sale, the old versions that didn't have nothing written on them, just the old versions without the grip safety net. They were selling them for $100 online. So you're looking, but then again, if it's $100 gun, by the time you pay the $25 transfer fee to shipping and sales tax, you got a $150 gun. Okay, so you're correct. Okay, even buying them high points on a closeout sale for 100, it's going to be $100. Of course, this guy, he's buying from people desperate that need cash now, and he gets them for under 100, you know. But you don't know. And it's like, yeah, somebody comes up to you and wants to sell you anything, shotgun or whatever, and you go, well, I'll give you $60. Chances are he just stole it. So you kind of don't want to look for deals like that. 'Cause I remember this one nitwit at a flea market. He had a damn Ruger pistol and it had an alloy frame, and where the serial number was, somebody went and buffed that thing to where it was gone. So he had a gun that was stolen that somebody buffed off the serial number. And of course, he says, well, it's a ghost gun. And the one guy goes, no, it's not. He goes, ghost guns usually have a polymer frame. This doesn't have a polymer frame. And they do not make ghost gun kits in this model of pistol. He goes, the gun is hotter than hell. And, somebody took the series, which is a series, that's 20 years, okay, for carrying that around. Yeah, and broken guns, trying to fix them, these guns at the gun shop and other places besides checking them over. Most places do not, Joel. I doubt that. some companies will, but most pawn shops, and I've seen stuff where cracked frames and all kinds of other things. So I doubt very much they test fire them. And when you bring it to the person's attention, so my friend used to hang out there. He goes, "Well, this has got a cracked frame." He goes, "Can you take some off the price?" And they go, "Oh no." Yeah, you're not supposed to do it, but that's the stuff they're trying to eliminate. Flea market back alley shit, and you got to use your head, okay, when you're doing that stuff. Like I said, somebody comes up selling you this stuff, chances are the damn gun, especially if it's really low. If it's a real nice gun like a Colt or something, and they ain't asking a hell of a lot of money for it, chances are the gun is extremely hot. Okay. And unless you're a dealer or something, because I know a lot of dealers, I've taken a gun in, handgun, and sell it at a gun store, and the guy goes, "I gotta go in the back a minute." And the fucker goes in the back and calls the cops and runs the numbers on it, see if it's stolen, which it wasn't. But he goes in the back and does. So I said, "All right, yeah, first of all, you think I'm coming in with a stolen fucking gun. All right, thanks." Uh, and then he's telling me he wasn't going to give me nothing for it anyway. So I said, "All right, it's all right. I'm going to go." Yeah, well, you're not supposed to have guns with the serial numbers removed. Now, Ghost Gun is a frame that never had a serial number put on it. Okay, they have a blank metal plate there. See, and that's where here the law gets weird. Now, if you take an old gun, irregardless, and remove the serial number, yeah, that's a felony. To deface it next, I remember somebody had a shotgun. I think it was a Mossberg. It had like a crinkle finish on it or something, and it must have been in a pawn shop because they couldn't see the serial number. So somebody went and you see where the serial number was. It was exposed, that aluminum metal. Okay, how they anodized it. Somebody, so they could read the serial number. Well, the serial number was not defaced. But one guy, when we were looking at it, and this guy got it from his brother or something, he wanted to know if we could sell it. And one fellow looked at it and he seen where they took the finish off the serial number. He said, "I ain't touching it. I don't want to know. I don't want the thing near me," because he thought the serial number was defaced. Of course, he has issues where he's dealt with the law more than me. Uh, you know, he ended up spending the night in jail trying to help somebody change a flat tire at the side of the road. And that just all went to shit. So, I don't know how the hell you do that. Well, of course, when everybody's drunk out of their mind, it's pretty easy. It was more of a drunk and disorderly. Yep. Well, getting close to an hour and a half. And like I said, I got to get out. I'm going to cruise by the veterans places and see what we're planning to do for disaster relief here, because I guess the federal government isn't doing nothing in its state. So it's up to us, and see what I can do to help out and what's needed with the local community here. So it's been fun, guys. We'll still keep the lives at 10 o'clock on Sunday. I'm not going to do the daily ones anymore for now. Probably not till the countdown's over. We got 30 days to go. And all that other fun crap. But I will see you guys live next week. And we'll see. Maybe I can get a couple of these fellas here in as guests to liven up the whole thing. I'll send you fellas an email, see if you're up to it. All right. See you guys next week.